screen on it, so it doesn't work. So now I gotta.
Come on in.
Real quick,
Yeah.
I
got your pen too. It's
got the little magazine on too, which is nice. I didn't think I'd like this first, but it's. I don't for all my kids. I've had, this is brand new one too, so.
yeah. Sign up.
Do I sign up?
Yeah.
That's where I sign up for.
Okay.
Okay.
Mix it out.
Mixed out.
Yeah, we got,
Yeah.
I
I have, well, Bonnie needs.
North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah, I was still, they all come in your family.
All right, good morning. It's 9 o'clock. We will come to order for our fiscal court meeting dated November 14th, 2023. Welcome, everyone. Commissioner Series, thank you for being here today, as always. Appreciate your attendance.
Well, we reciprocated from you being with us last week.
It kind of goes back and forth, doesn't it? All right. Magistrate Ellis, would you do our invocation this morning, please?
I'm honored, Judge. Thank you. May we pray. Heavenly Father, please be with us throughout our meeting today. We need your help as we work for the good of our community. We've just come off Veterans Day, and it was such a blessing when we were in church and we recognized all those who have served and those who are serving to protect our nation. We grieve over the loss of 5 men in the Mediterranean who trained at Fort Campbell right here in Kentucky. Please receive them in heaven. Thanksgiving is just less than 10 days away, and we have so much to be thankful for as a community, at Boyle County, as a state and a nation in this time of so much strife around the world. And Lord, we're headed out tomorrow to be in a conference of some 700 of our colleagues all across the state. Please give us wisdom as we look forward to the next year with issues that will affect everyone in our county. Guide and keep us this day. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Magistrate Ellis. If you all will stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and you may be seated. Okay, we have the prior meeting minutes of October 24th. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Magistrate Cullen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes for the meeting of October 24th signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Minutes are approved. We are going to skip the bills for just a few minutes. Elena had a school function that she needed to attend this morning with her little boy. They are having donuts with adults, and so she will be here, but it'll be a few minutes. So we're going to go ahead and approve the budget transfers. Ms. Darlene.
Budget transfers were from general fund, joint jail fund, EMS fund, and fleet management. They total $28,490.54.
Move we approve the budget transfers as presented.
Okay, I have a motion by Magistrate Gay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Magistrate Harmon. Any discussion on budget transfers? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Cash transfers.
Cash transfers, I have 2. General fund to EMS for operations, and the jail restricted fund to the joint jail fund for payment of debt. It's $37,402.42 for that, $200,000 for the EMS, total of $237,402.42.
Have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Magistrate Gay, is there a second? Second by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussion on cash transfers? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. And then do you have a new line item?
I do, I have one. I thought I added this on last month, but apparently I did not, so we're gonna get it done now. It's general fund, office equipment maintenance agreement, and this is for the HR. It's the copier upstairs. So it's 015046338800, office equipment maintenance agreement.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the new line item of office equipment maintenance agreement?
I make a motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Magistrate Bodner. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Magistrate Sleeper. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you, ma'am. All right, next, under old business, we have Jailer Wofford. And he must be out in the,
Question, Darlene, sorry.
Yes.
Took me a second to get my bills up, I don't look up my lap, or my iPad. On joint jail fund, it says we're transferring $2,000 from laundry custodial supplies over to vehicle maintenance repair. It just seems like that wouldn't be something that you would just transfer back and forth.
There
I can
was,
tell you what it was for, if that's what
I was gonna say, I had, well, yeah, if you wanna tell me.
we had to have some tires on trucks.
It makes sense, but just, it kind of seems weird it's coming out of the laundry custodial supplies.
There was just an abundance there, so I went ahead and took it.
You're not gonna end up needing that, or?
We could always pull it from somewhere else. So, I usually come in under 1.3, so.
Yeah, I'm well aware of
Next
it.
line, so, the costs going up, but we had to devise some tires and some different things that we needed on vehicles that were.
And there's no other vehicle maintenance money, or? No?
No. We didn't budget very much for the vehicle maintenance this year.
All right, and then, okay, I mean, we can talk about it later, but the, like the liability insurance, moving money from that to office equipment too, seems just kind of,
Well, liability insurance right now, the bulk of that is all paid out, so that line item
Yeah.
has an abundance that's just gonna sit there.
okay,
So, I was just moving that over just to use.
okay.
and that's in the fleet management, okay.
Yeah, that's, well, and that's, it's in a couple different ones,
Okay.
Yeah,
so.
Gotcha. Any other questions?
no,
Good? Okay.
no, for now.
All right, we'll proceed with Jailer Wofford.
All right, so, since our last audit, auditors had some issues with the way we do our canteen and order. And like I say, we use a wholesaler, we run canteen ourselves and collect our own tax and all the other stuff that goes along with it. So we decided to bid this out to another company. Technically, I don't have to bring it in front of fiscal court because it falls under jailer and it's not under budget. But I like to do things in the open, so.
We appreciate
kind
that.
of everybody, want you all to make sure you understand what's going on. So basically, we received, I think, 2 bids. And I'm here today to kind of request your all permission that basically we turn over our commissary to Kelwell Commissary, which Kelwell has another division that does our food preparation in the kitchen. We've had a long relationship with them. I think they even, Master Harmon, when he was jailer, actually brought them in. And I'm very pleased with what they do. So basically, they will be doing all of our canteen. I will be removing that deputy that does that, which I pay out of the canteen. We're going to kind of change some things around to change her job duties and titles. She's going to be doing some other things. But so basically with this, Kelwell will be doing everything and just cut the check every month to the canteen. I will no longer have to collect the sales tax, pay the sales tax or the excise tax or e-cig or any of that stuff. So
Since this is within your constitutional authority, you probably don't even need a motion.
well, I'd like one. I just opened.
So
I just
moved.
so.
Second. Motion by Magistrate Ellis, a second by Magistrate Gay, is that right? I heard, but I wasn't looking. All right, to approve contracting with Kelwell for canteen services.
We need all your seconds to be ho ho ho.
Was there an amount, contract amount or
No,
anything?
it's,
Just-
we don't pay them, they
Okay.
pay us,
All right.
so we're not, spending any money.
Just
They-
want to make sure.
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor of the motion, or is there any discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, next is proclamation. We have National Homeless and Hunger Awareness Week. Actually, it is over the next couple of weeks. And I would like to read this proclamation into the court minutes. Whereas Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week is an annual program where people come together across the country to draw attention to the problems of hunger and homelessness that exist in communities across the United States. And whereas many Americans are living on the edge of homelessness, forced to choose between basic necessities like purchasing food, paying rent, or going to the doctor. And whereas homelessness is increasing at a rapid pace in Boyle County with little resources available to mitigate the growing problem. And whereas Feeding America reports 72% of American households served by food banks live at or below the federal poverty line and have a median annual household income of $9,175. Whereas in Kentucky, 1 out of 5 kids struggle with hunger during their childhood and lack consistent nutrition. And whereas Feeding America reports the cost of the average meal increased from $2.94 to $3.25 in 2020. In some areas, however, the cost per meal is nearly twice the national average. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, Trilly L. Bottom, Boyle County Judge Executive, and the Fiscal Court do hereby proclaim November 11th through the 28th, 2023 as National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week, and urge all citizens to stock New Hope Food Pantry, our local food bank that benefits citizens in Boyle County who are experiencing hunger. I have a motion to approve the proclamation.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Magistrate Ellis, a second by Magistrate
Judge,
Gay.
let me recede from that motion because I think we ought to honor Magistrate Sleeper for this idea, and it's just extraordinary, and I'm embarrassed that I jumped in front of him there. So.
This one isn't mine yet, mine's yet to come, so,
Well, the concept's the same.
but I'll make the motion.
Okay. All right, we'll retract that, and we'll have Magistrate Sleeper making the motion and Magistrate Gay seconding the
Thank you,
motion.
Judge.
Yeah, thank you. All right, any discussion? All those in favor of the proclamation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. And I do encourage everyone to visit New Hope Pantry. I know there was a list posted on our Facebook page of things that are needed in food pantry. So if anyone has an opportunity to go and look at that list and can donate, or whether it be with food or time, either one, I know they would appreciate it at New Hope Pantry. So, all right, next is Brent Blevins, our health director. Is he here? I hadn't seen Brent this morning.
Yeah,
Welcome,
good morning, good morning.
welcome. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning. I appreciate the opportunity to take just a few minutes to talk to you all this morning about the financial interest statement that I recently discovered, and was looking at that for the boards and finding out how that impacted our boards. And Joe with the Ethics Commission came and talked to us about a month ago, explained the ordinance and how that worked. And at the time, he did not have the form with him, but they were working on it, so we got that later. And once I saw it, I felt like that I needed to do a little work on that and to talk to you all, if possible, about that process. The process I went through after I saw the form, I actually looked up DLG, and DLG is Department of Local Government, and all the special taxing districts have to have our information on there to see if any forms are on there. I couldn't see any forms similar to this. I saw some back in 2013 and 14, which must have been a popular time for code of ethics and financial information, but none recent. And so then I caught up with KCO, and KCO is my go-to. So we have our insurance that gives us guidance, and was able to talk to them, and to Michelle Barrett, who is my rep. She looked at the information and decided that they wanted their lawyer to look at it, and so that's how all that got involved, just to give you a little backstory on how we got to where we are now. So when I looked at the form and I looked at our board, I realize I think there's some things on the form that need to be revised. And I'm talking specifically about the Board of Health here. I would like to make assumptions about the other taxing district boards. I don't really want to do that because I don't understand exactly how they operate. But let me give you a real quick background on the Board of Health so to understand this. All the members that come on the Board of Health now sign a code of ethics that does have a financial piece in it. So we're used to that. That piece was nothing different to us. Annually, the Board of Health has to approve the Board of Health manual, which also has that information in it again. So it keeps it in front of them. Biannually, the state actually certifies everybody on my board, whether they're okay to be on the board or not. And so that's another checks and balance we have. And then we have an annual audit by RFH, who also looks at the health department, but also the taxing district. So that's another checks and balances that we've got already built into this process. And then finally, if I have a contract with any of my board members that's over $2,000, the state, the Department of Public Health has to approve that. I can't just do a contract. So I give you that information just to show you that we have some checks and balances already set up, just to give you a little info on that. So here's my concerns about the form as it stands now. I have an all-volunteer board. I have a great board. I have people who've been there for a while, and really, they have some interest in public health, and I'm very thankful for that. One of my board members told me the other day, he said, you know, Brent, we get 4 sandwiches a year. Is our payment going to be on that? I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that, what they do. They don't have any direct influence over the contracts or anything. They do approve my budget every year and some of those type things, but not a direct influence in any of that. I have a real concern that I will lose board members. I have not sent the form out to all my board members yet because I wanted to meet with you all and kind of walk through the process and see where this is going to go. But I had 3 in particular I talked to. One of them told me that she was out immediately. The other 2 said they would probably be out if the form stood as it is now. That's not a threat or anything. I'm just trying to get a little info of how that is. What I would like to ask the board today, or the fiscal court today, is if you all would consider doing a stay or whatever you want to term that, and then taking a look at the form as it stands now, letting Joe with the Ethics Commission, let them look at it, let you all look at it, and possibly make it more appropriate just for boards. I understand this form covers a lot of areas and a lot of people, I'm assuming elected officials on up. So I realize that there might have to be some different divisions of this if you all decide to look at it, but that's my ask today. Again, I'm not trying to hide anything, not trying to get around any process. I read through the ordinance, I certainly understand that, and certainly definitely want to be in compliance with that. But I do ask you to at least give some time to reconsider the form and to let Joe and them reconsider it, or you all, however that process needs to work.
Okay. Joe, do you have anything to add to that? I know Julie does, but I want to see if you have anything.
Julie, why don't you go ahead first?
Before I'm into myself. No.
You've been pretty, so go ahead.
Joe and I had a pretty lengthy conversation with Rich Ornstein about the form and the questions and the information that you require. His words were that what you are asking for is unusual. He's never seen it on any other county's forms. He's not saying it's right or wrong, but he said it's very unusual. And correct me if I'm wrong or miss anything, Joe. But I would recommend that we put a moratorium on collecting these forms for 90 days to give Joe and I time to do some research on the form, what we're asking for, because even Rich said I would have to lay bare my 401k and who I have money in my 401k. That was Rich Ornstein's words to us.
Let me just, if I could, because I mean, I guess I'm struggling to understand what the big concerns are, because just so the public knows, we're not asking for you to tell us how much money you have in your 401k, and so I guess while I'm not opposed to looking at it and reworking it and doing all that, because I don't want to discourage people from being on our boards, but I just don't. It's so vague.
Well, he raised eyebrows at the level of investments that we have to spell out. So if you have investments in your portfolio, you have to open that up and list who you're with if it's over whatever the
$10,000.
Yeah. And that was where he was like, I've never seen that.
I'll make a motion, we go ahead and put a 90-day moratorium in there.
Second.
We've had problems with other boards that have brought this to our attention, and if we're getting guidance from
Our
Keiko
attorney, yeah,
attorney,
Keiko attorney.
that'll give you all time to talk, it'll give Chris time to talk, and
Ethics Commission.
Ethics Commission.
Right.
He did say you could consider two forms. One for the elected officials and staff that procures, and one for your board. So I think the Ethics Commission could look at that and make
That's
a
fine.
recommendation.
But again, there
that
is no
okay?
specifics in
There's
there.
no dollar
So I
amounts.
guess I still am, I mean, I don't mind
Yeah.
working on it and redoing it, but I've just always been interested in hearing what the concern is, because this is, in no way is this a financial statement that we're asking people to provide.
It's an invasion of privacy.
It's just whether, it's just to
Yeah.
determine if you could have a potential conflict of interest with some entity, so.
I've been on the health board for over 30, I was on it, not now currently, of course, but for over 30 years, and I got the 4 sandwiches a year,
Yeah.
and I can see where some people would be very concerned about it. It wouldn't have bothered me to put it down, but I don't have a problem at all.
Okay, I have a motion on
No.
the floor by Magistrate Cullen, and did you second that, Mr. Ellis? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now go ahead and discuss.
And we've had people, this was a big thing last year too, and we heard from multiple people that said, I'm gonna lose board members, and nobody left. So I understand the concerns or whatever.
I can
also-
attest to the fact, trying to find people to serve on county-appointed boards.
Yeah,
It's quite cumbersome because people just don't
No, I
want to
understand.
put their personal information out there.
I understand. I think if there's an opportunity to kind of streamline it, and if the ethics board's okay with it, let's just look at it. It doesn't hurt anything.
Because to me, the only one on the form that is a little weird, that is looking at it a little closer, is the securities section.
Yep.
Because the other ones, you know, and I think if maybe we just put it that, you know, it's over $10,000 relationship with companies located in Boyle County.
Yes, we did talk about that. The other thing is the dollar amounts that are listed in the ordinance were from 95, and so inflation, you know, you gotta look at some of those numbers too. So I think it's gonna take a little bit of time, but I just felt like Rich was kind of prodding us to take a look at this. He didn't tell us we had to, but he was prodding us to revisit. So
And
that's why.
what's hard for most of the people that we had problems with last year is just that it's available to anybody.
Yes.
They don't have to have a reason why to come in and they want to look at it or whatever. It's just, it's available to anybody.
And
So I
as
understand that.
it stands today, everybody has to fill it out.
Yeah.
So without the moratorium, everybody that serves on these public boards are required to do this. Rich said there's no out, so I feel like just give us a little time, please.
Would you like
Got
a
it.
committee
Well,
appointed?
the
to do
moratorium
this?
just takes us up to the current date anyway, doesn't it?
No, we
It's
have to
due.
have, they have to go out in December.
We're
January
required to
1st.
have them out by December 31st. They're
Yes.
required under the amended ordinance now to January 31st is the deadline date. So I did want to address that issue, but you got a motion right now.
Yes. Okay, any more discussion? I'd be glad to appoint a committee to go over all this with Joe and with Julie, and if you all would like to.
I mean, it should be straightforward if what the lawyer said, and we've got Joe here. I don't see we need a committee, I wouldn't think. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I don't see the need.
No.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to issue a moratorium, 90-day moratorium, blah, blah, I can't talk today. Moratorium, and we have a second. Is there any more discussion?
It's a 90-day moratorium on sending out.
The financial
the
disclosure
financial
form.
disclosure
Yes,
document.
thank you. Thank you. All right, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Okay, Joe,
Thank you
did
all.
you have additional comment?
First, I wanted to thank Brent. Was very helpful in this process. We learned some things by reaching out to organizations, and appreciate your input. And I know you spent some time on this, and so we hope to get a better product. I did want to mention that Mr. Ornstein felt sections H, I, J, and K of the section, the disclosure, that included securities, gifts. Get the other ones were.
Jamie's got
In the
it.
ordinance. It's in the ordinance.
Ordinance, and then the offices or directorships. One of the things that we had talked about when we were working on the ordinance a year and a half ago was raising the gift amount, but we didn't get into that as a final product. So those are issues, but we're certainly open. People, if anybody here has an interest on this, please certainly feel free to come contact me, or you can get me through Julie. And you're welcome to come to our meetings. Our meetings are open as well. We'll have to call a special meeting. Our next one's scheduled for January, so I don't think we're going to wait that long for this. But we welcome your input.
What are the gift limits right now?
$100. And today, we asked Rich Ornstein, I think, said today that would be about $210, $211. So, I mean, I'm just saying, things have changed. It's been a while. So I don't think there's been any significant changes to these things since the ordinance was.
I mean, I have to sign one of these where I'm licensed with SEC and FINRA, and those are about the same levels. They haven't changed those too much, you know, with same stuff.
Sure. I mean, it's up to you all. I just wanted to let you know in terms of looking at this is dealing with some stuff because the securities issue, and I was going to say, this was an issue some folks would provide information on, like what was in their 401k and others wouldn't. And the dollar amounts are not, I mean, that's it. It's 10,000. So yeah. I've heard one of our members say that she felt this was not covering enough. According to Julie, there's never been a request, as far as she knows, from an open records for anybody to look at the forms over there. So I'm not saying that's not a complaint, but it's just a reality that this is something that it's done. And like once we get these, we don't contact Brent to check every once in a while to see, okay, is there anybody now? You know, the responsibility is on the individual if there are changes in their situation to fill out another form.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much, once it's done, it's there. And so maybe there's some things that you all have that we could do better, or we're open to that. So.
I mean, the theory behind it is to make sure there's no influence on these boards.
Conflicts of interest.
Right. Exactly. I mean, that's primarily what it was. And as far as the limits on there, the intent behind that is like, I can send somebody, you know, a bouquet of flowers, or I can send them like some chocolates or whatever, you know,
sure.
For the office. That
pick me.
Small items, gifts are okay. It's when you start getting into higher levels
right.
that you're looking at influence. So I wouldn't really go too far with that.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be up to you all because it has to be an ordinance change. The ordinance, these are reflected in the ordinance form. So therefore, you all have the final say, and certainly we want to work with you, and we're open to.
I'd like to make a follow-up point to Magistrate Collins' comment, especially on the concept of a gift. Way back in the 1980s, when this became a horrific Kentucky idea because there were so many illegitimate things going on that the pendulum went to, quote, no cup of coffee. First of all, I think separating gift from the cup of coffee or a dinner out might be an idea we would look at. And I would not accept a $100 gift, because if I accepted it from one person in a corporation, I might accept it from 10 people in a corporation. So I would, when we reach this in 90 days or so, I would fight against a gift tax, as opposed to the sort of thing where this afternoon
we're meeting with. It's not a tax.
I'm sorry, wrong word.
Gift limit?
Gift limit. Separate that from an example. This afternoon, the judge and I and one of our most trusted community members are meeting with some folks who want to influence just what we do on solar. And I'm sure that they're going to want to pick up the tab for the lunch. I see that totally.
Sure you still want to go, Judge?
Busted.
And so I'd arm wrestle with the cup of coffee, but not move a gift, because that still leaves more than a lot of room for things that I would not participate in.
It's the idea that you don't want to give somebody a Rolex.
Right.
If you want to give them like, hey,
believe me,
here's a
representing a major corporation 40 years ago, there were opportunities presented, and just have the.
Thank you.
I did have one question about the moratorium. We are under also a duty, we're working on the 2022 form. Some were not filled out completely, some non-compliance. is it the wishes of the fiscal court for us to continue with that work, or do you want to put that as a moratorium as well, along with this? In other words, for the people that, for the current situation?
Doesn't make sense for someone to fill out a form from last year that we're looking at changing for this year.
Yeah.
So I would say just, let's focus on this.
I agree. Do I need, is that okay? Just, I don't need a motion or anything for that?
No.
That's okay, good. Okay, thank you.
Brent, thank you for bringing this to our attention and sharing your concerns. And Joe, thank you as chair of the Ethics Commission for working with Julie. And if any of the magistrates have any concerns or comments or good ideas that they think Joe and the commission could benefit from hearing, then please share those with the Ethics Commission and or Julie. So.
We need good volunteers in this commission.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank
Joe,
you.
if you could just send a general reminder to Julie or Tina, let us know when that meeting's gonna be.
Will do.
It'd be great.
We'll do. Thank you all for your time.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, Elena has made it back, so we're going to jump back up and let her.
A lot of bills.
Yeah, there's a lot of bills. Sorry I'm late.
Make a motion, we don't approve.
No, we gotta get these approved.
Just double check them.
Oh my goodness, $3.5 million worth of bills. Okay, so the bills in total are $3,590,521.88. Now, we're also going to be paying Danville Independent Schools, their school tax, $730.54, and then the Bull County Sheriff's Office property tax in the amount of $423.16. And that is for the property on 125 East Main Street that the court purchased. It is at a prorated rate, and we are acting as a pass-through from the person that we bought it from, so it's not technically fiscal court funds. We're just expending it for them. So that's going to bring your overall total to $591,675.58.
Make a motion, we approve the bills as presented.
Have a motion by Magistrate Gates, or a second?
Second.
Second by Magistrate Harmon. Any discussion on the bills? All right, all those in favor of the motion to approve the bills signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Thank you,
ma'am. Get them checks ready. You need some
Get your signing date ready.
Okay, now we'll skip back down to where we were, and we have representatives with Sherrill Morgan about the health insurance renewal. Welcome.
Thank you, Judge.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Lisa Stamm. I am the staff attorney with Sherrill Morgan, and Michelle Middendorf is here with me also. She's our staff CPA. And together we work on our self-funded block of business. And of course, the health plan here at Boyle County is a self-funded plan. So I'm here to make some recommendations for the upcoming plan year for administration and stop loss and some plan design changes and so forth. So thank you for having us all here. We're very pleased to be here with you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. So the first recommendation is that the county renew with Aspirant for third-party administration services and with the Anthem network for your PPO network. And Aspirant is holding their fees for 2024. Anthem's access fee has increased slightly by $1.65 per employee per month, and that equates to about $200 for the year. So that would be our first recommendation.
Which line is that? Is that the total annual network access fee?
I'm not sure what you're looking at, Magistrate. Can I borrow your copy?
Can I borrow that actually, because ours is hard to see, that's why.
I apologize, I thought I had flipped
This
it,
one's
so-
probably small
Yeah,
too.
real
but-
small.
Oh,
I think Aspirant's fee is the first line, and then Anthem's is below that.
okay.
Do you see that?
Yeah, I'm trying to make out the,
I think so.
Would you like me to make copies for it?
We have some copies here.
Okay.
You want me to hand them
Yeah,
out?
please,
that would be
please.
good.
Okay, sure.
That would be super.
Yeah.
I'll take the
back.
phone.
To the judge.
Yeah, I don't get the pretty copies.
Sorry, these are small.
Well, no, this is helpful because it looked like that
Oh, yeah.
total annual network access fee went from 16,000 to 48,000, so now it's a little easier to see. It's 46,000 to 48.
That's what I need. That's handy.
Ready to go stargazing later.
Okay.
Okay, and then also we are recommending that you renew with MedBed for your pharmacy administration, and they use a pharmacy benefit manager called Ventegra. We're recommending that you renew with them and that you renew your agreement with RX Help Centers. That is the advocacy company that the county brought in last year to help find alternative sourcing for specialty drugs and to assist members with other medication costs as well. And I'll have more to say about that in a few minutes. So those are the administrative renewal recommendations. And I don't know if you want to read on everything at once, Judge, or if we should stop and do each one separately.
Steve, how's Aspirant doing? Because I know when it was ARC, it was,
I guess I'm not dissatisfied with them. It just is, you know, just kind of as we go. I'd like more communication from them than we're getting sometimes, but all in all, I think they're pretty good administrators.
okay.
No problem.
What are your opinions on this? This is your world.
You asking me?
Yeah. No, or somebody behind me or not. Rick's gonna chime in on this one.
I thought you lied. No, I think it's a good deal. I think they've done a good job of finding good, cost-efficient ways to do things.
Okay.
If you want a motion at this point, I'll
Sure.
make that motion to approve these administrative
Service fees.
service fees, yes.
Okay, I have a motion by Magistrate Gay, is there a second?
I'll second it. Are
Second
we
by
separating
Magistrate
that
Coe.
we're taking on Anthem and Aspirant in a separate motion, or do you want to wrap that
No,
up?
that all in one, yeah, all the administrative.
Administrative fees,
Sorry, yeah.
and then we'll also accept to continue with Anthem and Aspirant.
Yeah, and the prescription administrator part as well.
Med, and what was that med?
And then Ventegra and RX Help Centers, and there are no increases in the fees for the pharmacy administration.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only increase was with Anthem.
I
Correct.
guess the easy way of saying is we'll go ahead and accept your recommendations.
Yeah, okay. So-
On pharmacy, years ago, many physicians would not go with generic. Are you seeing a trend toward significant acceptance?
Yes, the generic dispense rate here at the county is pretty high. Yeah.
Good.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion on the administrative service fee? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. All
All
right.
right, thank you. So moving on to stop loss then. The stop loss renewal that we got from the current carrier for next year was actually quite high. It was a 56% increase on premium. So Sherrill Morgan received some competitive quotes from other stop loss carriers, and fortunately, we were able to get a quote that is actually 3% under current.
Nice.
So
Good job.
that is a savings of about $158,000 over the renewal.
And that's what
And that is with a company called Symetra. They're a very large insurance company, and they're an A-rated carrier. And all of your policy terms would stay the same, so same specific deductible, same rate cap for next year. So nothing else would change, just the premium would be a lot lower than what you would otherwise pay. So we would
I'll
definitely
make that
recommend.
motion too.
Yes.
Okay.
Surplus to Symetra.
I have a motion by Magistrate Gay, a second by Magistrate Bodner to approve the stop loss plan with Symetra at a 3% under current. Right.
Steve, I'm going back to you. You okay with that too?
Absolutely.
Good answer, Steve, good answer.
I know the good answer.
That's right. All right, any discussion on the stop loss renewal? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Look, I'm moving Steve's parking spot closer to the door, all right?
You're getting on up there, Steve.
All right. Now if it moves away, I'll wonder why.
Yeah, right.
All
Okay.
right, thank you. And now moving on to plan recommendations. So I mentioned before that last year the county started contracting with RX Help Centers to help people find alternative sources for specialty drugs and to help them with their brand copays if they need assistance with that. And I'm happy to report that that program has saved a tremendous amount of money by removing almost all specialty drugs off of the plan, but people are still able to get them just through alternative sources. Most of the time that's the manufacturer who, believe it or not, will pay for a medication when a plan does not. The county has saved a net of about $141,000 after you take into account RX Help Center's fees. So that has been a very successful program. And the new recommendations that we're making for 2024 are as follows. The first one is to increase the emergency room copay to $250. So it's currently $75, which is extremely low compared to the benchmarks in the industry and amongst your governmental counterparts. There is some indication that the emergency room is being inappropriately used. And so moving to a $250 copay, we think will help a lot with that.
Question,
But
Steve,
that's,
Yes.
on what folks earn by going through the health process that we just did a couple of weeks ago, the employee can recoup that fee.
Not, that's a copay for using a service that we don't think you should use.
But with that money that's allotted up to $2,000 to the employee, can they get reimbursed
Yes.
off of that?
yes, they can. He's talking about the.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The health spending account.
The spending account, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so it's, we're not hurting our employee if they've gone through that process.
Well, the goal is to use the appropriate services.
I understand,
Yeah,
and it's still,
But bottom
I
line
mean,
is,
that's,
if they've got a car.
that's always been the case.
If they've got a car.
Savings account.
So
Yeah.
when you say that, are you talking about like using a walk-in clinic versus the emergency room?
Yes,
Yes.
Okay.
yes. And some people use the emergency room as a
Yeah.
physician's office,
Okay,
and that's what we're trying to prevent.
okay.
And I agree philosophically with that,
I know you do.
but, and hopefully we'll counsel that individual using it incorrectly, but they won't be hurt financially if they do.
Potentially, yes.
But you're talking about two different things, because you're talking about people that are on the health savings account,
Yes,
and that's not the same thing. These
I
are people that
understand.
are on our
I
insurance.
totally understand.
But not
That was
everybody gets
clarified
that.
a minute ago.
Right.
But not everybody gets that $2,000. So
That's
they take a
correct.
Plan.
That's correct.
So they kind
Probably
of
do.
That's
Well,
why
it's
I said
also-
those who get it.
It's also
Yeah, those who
important.
get it can, but, and she hadn't got into it yet, but one, opening up to more dependents will decrease the number of cards that you see.
Correct.
Because they'll be on the plan now.
But it's also important to, if I read it correctly, that $250 is essentially waived if you're admitted.
If you're
Correct?
admitted, correct.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So if it's a true emergency and you're in, I mean, it also helps, not overrun our emergency rooms too.
I mean,
So,
that's a historic problem with
It is.
hospitalization.
Yeah, and you want to encourage your members to use primary care whenever possible, and to have a relationship with a primary care physician, because that's where they're gonna have the best care and continuous care for their chronic conditions. You don't want people
And
going
we
to
have
the
those
ER.
walk-in clinics all over the county now, so.
Right, there are plenty of options.
right.
Okay, so that's the first one. The second one is to have a flat $5 copay for generic drugs. So currently, the generic copay is 25% of the cost of the medication, which equates to just a little bit more than $5 on average per prescription. And the reason we're making this recommendation is just to Magistrate Ellis's point earlier, to encourage generic utilization. So if members have a copay that is a flat copay and they know that's what it's going to cost to get a generic drug, then they're more likely to use generics. If the drug costs less than $5, which is the case with a lot of generic drugs, then the copay is whatever the cost of the drug is. So it would be at most a $5 copay.
And what is it now?
It is 25% of the cost.
Okay.
And then the third recommendation is to require prior authorization for drugs known as GLP-1 agonists. So you've probably heard a lot about Ozempic in the news, and Mounjaro. So drugs like those are what we call GLP-1 agonists. And because of social media, to a large extent, people are taking these medications for weight loss when they're only labeled for type 2 diabetes. So implementing a prior authorization requirement will make sure that if somebody's using one of these drugs on your plan, that it is for diabetes and not for weight loss.
We could even get in a legal problem since it's not FDA approved yet for that too. So I'm glad that we're addressing that very carefully.
Yes, and these drugs have just exploded on health plans because of all the emphasis that social media has put on the weight loss aspects of the drugs.
How often is the prior authorization?
Is it yearly?
Yeah, it's usually for 12 months. Okay, and then the last one is to reduce the number of plans that you have here to one, and that will be the standard plan, and to allow your employees to have a $0 premium for that, regardless of the type of enrollment that they have, as long as they are compliant with the wellness program and with the tobacco status requirement, non-tobacco status. Now, this is not a recommendation that's designed to decrease costs. This one is to make the recruitment and retention of employees easier so you can be more competitive.
Not only that, it's also to help us show that we value and appreciate our current employees as well.
Yep.
So
those are our plan recommendations.
Okay.
I move we accept those plan recommendations.
Do you
as
want them
presented.
repeated?
You
got it the first time.
Great. I'll second it. Didn't we approve these
Not-
a week or two ago? These recent ones. I thought we went over these.
We did discuss
We did go
them,
over,
yes.
but I don't think we-
it was in the.
An approval.
physical
All right,
court.
second.
We talked about the pre-authorization of the medicine.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of it, but I guess we didn't vote on it, so that's fine.
Okay, got a motion by
Happy to do
Magistrate
it
Gay,
again.
a second by Magistrate Cullen to approve the plan recommendations for the insurance program. Any other discussion?
Sorry.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
And then
Thank you so much.
one more thing,
Okay.
Judge, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
So your plan, will inflate in cost like it normally would, but this year we are recommending that you budget additional funds because you're gonna pick up some employees and some dependents by removing the premiums and offering just the one plan. So we're recommending that you fund your health plan at $2.1 million for next year, which includes almost $400,000 in additional funding for the anticipated increase in enrollment.
On here it says, is it the two? It's almost 2.2 million, right? Is that what I'm looking at?
So you're looking at,
Plan management fees.
Plan cost.
so that is a stop loss, that's the maximum cost under your stop loss, so
Okay.
$2.2 million. So we're recommending just slightly less than the maximum, so 2.1 million.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Have a motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Gay, to budget additional funding of $2.1 million next year. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Now I'm finished.
Awesome, thank you so
Maybe,
much.
Judge,
Magistrate
Jamie's got his
Gay.
hand up again.
No, I just wanted to thank Cheryl Morgan for her work on this and say that it's been a decision well justified in bringing Cheryl Morgan on as part of our team, and I appreciate the work they've done. And then also want to thank the court for moving forward with this employee benefit that's been long overdue.
Yes.
And I think that's a huge step forward as far as our employee benefit package. And so I'm real excited that we've gotten to this point. So I don't want that to go by unnoticed and unappreciated and unrecognized.
I think we-
Thank you for saying
That's
that.
a big step forward.
We need to notice that this was brought on by employees asking and bringing this up, as a way. So we're grateful that for the, Steve, and I know Mike has been a big proponent of it as well, and it's helped. So, these ideas come from our employees, and we listen to them. So.
The retention, retaining.
Yes.
We've trained employees that
Yes.
we've trained. This is helpful.
Yeah, because as we've said, and I agree, and I appreciate you bringing that point up too, Manager Cullen, but, as we've said, it's almost like you chase your tail when you try to catch up with the pay issues. Yeah. But this is an issue that really, I think, has some teeth and impact in retention and attraction of employees, because, nobody's ever gonna be paid enough. But this is a benefit that really impacts people's families, and
The benefit package can be a nice incentive.
makes a difference in their
Yes.
lives.
You're done.
And Judge, as Columbo used to say, one more thing. This really is a tangent to your work with us, but drugs and alcohol affect everybody in this room, every family in America. Just yesterday, because our jailer and staff do such an extraordinary job with drug and alcohol, and then the ability to get clean and then get back in society as tax-paying workers, we were privileged to have Channel 56 here about our program. Over the last 2 years, ours was the first in Kentucky to ever get a 100% rating by the state Department of Corrections, and we got 100% again this year. So Channel 56 was interested, and I'd encourage you to go to their website, Channel 56 Fox out of Lexington, and look at the 2-minute segment that they had on the news last night. We have 26 programs out of 78 jails. It would be my goal, and I know our jailer's goal, for all 76 to have that type of re-entry into society program that has been so successful here in Boyle County. So when you get a chance, it's only 2 minutes long. We're going to have it shown.
Or just stick around. We're going to play it here.
If you want to be here for another couple hours, we're going to play it here.
Yeah.
But you can find it on, you can get it as you're driving home. So.
Great.
So.
Thank you, Magistrate.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you all.
Appreciate it. All right, comp plan update. Julie, were you going to speak to that?
Just real quick, I wanted to bring you up to speed that Joe Black, that has been running the comp plan for Bluegrass Head, has resigned and moved to another position. So we've talked to Michaela about continuing on with the comp plan, and then Trilly got a call from Shane New at Bluegrass Head. So I believe they're working out some way to get this done the best that they can do. It might actually be just like nothing happened. So I just wanted to bring you up to speed that Joe has moved on and won't be your point person on the comp plan. So
Shane has assured me that things will move forward as planned.
It'll warm out with all the meetings.
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. All right, thank you. County Surveyor. Is he out in the
I
hall?
don't think he's here.
Oh, he's
Didn't
not here?
ask him to come.
Oh, okay. Are you going to
Yes.
cover that?
The bill, the cost to survey the Alum Springs property is $13,400, which exceeds our internal amount to authorize. And this would be one of the first steps that we need in order to develop a plan for the park. So I'd like your blessing to sign that contract with the surveyor to survey the Alum Springs.
And because he is our county surveyor, we don't have to put this out.
He is a professional service.
And we do not have to put
Right.
it
No.
out. to bids.
Yeah.
No.
Where's the
We
money
just
coming
contract
from?
with him.
We put aside some money for Junction City in the budget, so I guess we'll pull from that. We did 2 different funds for Junction City.
Well, one's Junction City Park, and the 20,000 I thought was
Yeah.
for the park.
So
I saw that he said he's gonna like look at the books of the courthouse and all that. I mean, can I save you all any money by me doing that part?
That'd be
Cause I do
great.
title work and stuff.
You do?
That'd be wonderful.
I'm just saying, I don't know if that's something you can ask him like.
Yeah. Ask Julie, what do you think?
That would be great.
We're deliberating over here.
yeah, we have 20,000 in the budget.
That's right.
So I'll make a
That's what I
motion, we
thought.
go ahead and approve it with the stipulation of asking if Chris can help out with some of the title work to reduce that
And
fee.
reduce that.
Cause he was looking at something else. I can't remember what. Oh, on the park over here by the fairgrounds, and asked me to like provide some of the stuff that I had previously done. So if I can like help out that way and
We would
save our
appreciate
county
it.
some money, then
That'd be great.
That'd be great. We
Love it.
appreciate it. Okay, so I have a motion to approve moving forward with the survey for the Alm Springs Park. Is there a second? Magistrate Bowden? All right. Any discussion?
Yeah, are we, So, Chris, you feel this 13,400 possibly could be less if you provide some of the services, or?
I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it just says in the bid that he's gonna
All right, so up to
look at the records,
13,400.
research all this and that.
We can do a not to exceed, and then that way we can whittle down when we can.
Yeah.
I want to do it that way.
That'd be great.
They might be like, no, we want our own people because you're not.
Well, if we
bonded with
approve
us."
the contract's for 13,004, so are we gonna do a not to exceed 13,004? Is that what
We
you're
can do
saying?
that. Yeah, and I'll talk to Rich.
And that, to that.
To amend it to, okay, not to exceed $13,400. Okay. You mean that
Who
on the
made
second?
Who made the first?
I did.
Okay.
That's fine.
Measure Cullen.
No, I vote yes.
Okay, so we've amended that motion to include not to exceed $13,400.
And we'll pay this when? When
When
the
he-
survey's done?
When he presents a bill.
I think he's asked for 2 different payments, if I
Yeah,
remember reading
67,
that right.
67, yeah.
Last,
On C, section C.
Okay, per milestone.
Completion of the field
2
work.
milestone payments, $6,700 per milestone.
Final
First
recorded
milestone
PDF file.
is when the completion of the survey field work is finished, and the second milestone is being the delivery of the final recorded plat.
Sounds
Okay. So maybe the second part of that
Would be less, maybe.
Could be reduced.
could be reduced, yes.
Okay.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Okay, next we have a resolution for Ward's Branch Road project. We have been approved for $34,200 for this project. And you all have the resolution in your packet.
Make a motion.
Mr. Johnson, would you like to say anything to this? Okay, let's make
I
a
make a
motion.
motion to approve.
Hold up. We have a motion to approve the funding for Woods Branch Road. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Cullen. Mr. Johnson, do you have anything you'd like to say to this, what we're going to do, paving?
Yeah, we're
Paving
going
work.
to pay from, the project is paving from Highway 37 to approximately, I think it's, I can't remember how far it actually is, but
Till you run out of pavement.
till we run out of money,
Yeah.
pave as far as it'll go. But anyway, it's starting at Highway 37 and on that end of Ward Branch.
Okay.
It's one of the roads that I've gotten a lot of inquiries on. There's some dangerous curves that are potholed.
Yeah.
It's time.
Well, it's on that end, it's really,
Yeah.
really bad, so that's what we got the money for on that.
Okay.
Sounds great, let's go.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All
Yes.
those in favor of approving resolution number 23.11.14.01 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any, my words are not coming today.
Any opposed?
Yes, thank you. Any opposed? Like sign.
Completion will
Motion
be-
carries.
Completion will be 2024.
Yeah,
We hope.
we hope.
Completion
is
will be-
Anticipated completion.
Yes,
We
well,
hope.
I'm not into that yet.
Yeah, y'all have to excuse me, COVID brain kicks in every now and then, so. Whew.
Hey, you want to speak to that new enhancement we have there at 150 and Stanford Road?
Well, let's wait a minute. Let's get through our resolutions and then.
Let's
if
hear all the
he
good news
wants
first.
to say- Yeah, let's hear all the good news first. All right, next is a resolution to approve funding for Mansfield Road and Dry Fork Road in the amount of $69,084.
Make a motion to approve.
Have a motion by Magistrate Cullen, a second by Magistrate Ellis. Any discussion or comments from Director Johnson?
Nope, we're good.
Okay. All those in favor of resolution number 23.11.14.02 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
The Mansfield project is the whole road.
Whole road on Mansfield Road.
On
Okay.
Mansfield Road.
All right.
Uh,
Dry Fork?
The one on Dry Fork is from the last bridge back towards 150.
About a half a mile.
about a half a mile on it. So that was the project on it.
Okay. I know the residents out there will appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, next, we have a resolution declaring an emergency on the Medlock Road Bridge. We have already announced that the weight limit was reduced from 14 ton down to 3 ton, which makes it now unsafe for our first responders, fire trucks, EMS, ambulances to cross. So we would like to declare, I would like to declare emergency in making this available, that we do not have to bid this project out, that we can go ahead with a vendor and get the bridge replaced.
I make that motion, Judge.
Second.
A motion by Magistrate Ellis, a second by Magistrate Cullen. Is there any discussion?
We have several families back there and several farmers still working their fields back in there, and it's a rough situation, and it probably won't be until spring, right, Roger?
Yeah.
So all the, I believe you told me yesterday that all the members, all the family members, farmers back there are aware of the situation.
And they are, and of course, and it is a bad situation, you know. And as far as car traffic, you know, that's okay. But you know, if you have any kind of emergency of any kind, then you know there is access, but it is a rough crossing.
I haven't been out to look at it. Have we put signage out there yet?
We've reduced the weight limit.
Well, we reduced the weight limit.
Yeah, okay.
You know, and that's done by state law.
Right.
You know, the one tells us what the weight limit is on bridges and stuff like that. So when they dropped it, you know, then we had to put the signage up, and then of course we get into the emergency vehicles and stuff.
And right now, the only crossing is creek bed.
Is a creek bed.
For emergency services.
For emergency services, yeah.
We have applied for emergency funding. We will receive $80,000 in emergency funding, but I need the court to take action on the remainder of that, which will be not to exceed $170,000. If you all total.
Yeah. No.
From the court. So we can have that come from LGEA funds, road aid funds, or the general fund.
So moved.
Okay.
So let's.
Part of your motion.
I'll second it. This one.
Okay.
But my question is, can we give the total for the project so we know? Is it the 170?
It was 250. Is that right?
Well, that's the quotes I've got.
That's the quotes. Okay.
That's not hammered down.
Yeah, no.
What it is. I mean, I had to get a quote so I could turn in
for emergency funding.
Yeah, but it's important to know that if we're going to give you emergency powers, how much power we're giving you.
Not to exceed.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So we basically took the 250, took the 80 off of it.
Right.
That's what I
So
did.
you said, you know, whatever.
Yeah. That left 170.
Yeah.
So what's the anticipated completion date, start date, or any of that stuff?
Well, that's why we're kind of here, trying to get things rolling.
Is it going to happen this year?
You know, I've talked to the bridge guy, and he says, you know, if we get everything going, he can have a bridge ready to be there within 3 weeks.
The supports are all in good shape,
Right.
and it's steel construction.
It's just the beams and the top that is bad. So you know, and that's
So he's going to do a bunch of prefab work, get it ready to go. That way,
right. It's kind of like a prefab deal.
weather comes, they can drop it. We're good to go.
Right.
Because for a second there, I was starting to think, do we really actually need to do an emergency on this if we've got this much time when it's actually going to be done? But it sounds like
no. I mean, if we can do an emergency on it, then I can go ahead and
move forward.
We can.
We don't want him jumping on another job.
Right. You know, we can get right on it. You know.
That fabrication in steel is going to take quite a bit of time, and I hope the steel is availability with all the delivery things we have.
He assures me, you know, when we get everything going, he can have it there within 3 weeks. So, you know, it's just getting everybody lined up. You know, first thing you gotta do, you gotta order the bridge or whatever and get that. And then.
Yeah, and if we don't do an emergency, we have to bid that out. So if he can do it in 3 weeks, then that's a lot quicker than having to bid it out and.
Well, that's what I'm trying to
bids.
Right.
Now, that's not saying delivery in 3 weeks, that's everything being underway.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to understand, is this gonna happen in 2023, or are we talking 2020?
Well, I'm
Like
hoping
spring of
2024, 2023, but.
In theory, yes.
I mean, that's what I'm hoping
In theory,
for,
yeah.
you know. Of course, you know, you just got a little less, you know, a month and a half.
No, I understand that, no,
You know, but, you know.
I don't wanna
I
throw an
don't
emergency
think
out
that-
there that's
well-
not gonna get done until June of next year.
No.
That's
No,
what.
I'd like to get it done.
It will be
as soon as possible.
ASAP.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Within this budget. Within this budget year. I'd like to get it done within this budget year. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, we've applied for emergency funding, so we have to declare an emergency.
Yeah.
I understand, I wanna set the proper tone that
Sure.
we're not just declaring an emergency when we don't have to, if it's gonna happen in 6 months, that's all.
It's an emergency if
Yeah,
you
one
can't
fire
get a
or
fire.
one
Yeah,
heart
first
attack.
responders can't get across, it's
Okay,
an
all right,
emergency.
so now, if it's gonna be like this, if we have to bid it out, that's 30 extra days.
Exactly.
So 30 extra days. So if it's not gonna get done until February, it's not really an emergency.
Oh,
We could bid it out 30 days, have the bids done. I'm just trying to understand the parameters, because there's gonna be questions on why we just approved $250,000 in emergency funding without going through the bidding process if we didn't have to. So I'm asking questions that are gonna be asked of us, instead of saying, well, I don't know, they said it was emergency, we needed to do it.
Well,
So-
initially, you were already getting quotes, correct?
Yes.
that
Okay,
was
and how many
critical in
did
terms
you-
of
Well,
timing.
I actually just got the one because I need to turn in something.
To apply for the
to-
emergency funding.
Emergency funding. Now, what I need to go back to is the bridge is pretty much set, okay? And we know what it's gonna cost, availability on it's in 3 weeks.
Mhm.
So what I need to do now is, I would like to get more quotes. I don't want to just take one quote because that was just a quote to get started on. You know, I mean, there's other people out there that know how to build bridges and stuff and maybe can do it a little cheaper than that. That's the next step the first step is for y'all to declare emergency, and then I can just go ahead and do it.
going.
And the exploration has shown that there is raw steel available, but fabrication takes time. And if we were not to go with an emergency, we could miss available steel in the raw form, let alone the time that it's
Well,
going to take to fabricate the bridge.
Right.
And we've got a half a dozen families where there can be a heart attack or a fire, God forbid, and it is an emergency. I think that's.
Let me read the
I won't have any
resolution.
problem explaining
Yeah,
that.
let's read the resolution. I like that.
Resolution declaring the existence of a local emergency in connection with the unsafe condition of the Medlock Road Bridge. Whereas Boyle County bridges serve as a vital lifeline for residents in Boyle County to access essential services, and whereas on September 27th, 2023, the Kentucky Department of Transportation inspected the bridge on Medlock Road and declared the bridge was unsafe and unstable for any vehicle over 3 tons. And whereas the Medlock Bridge was previously rated as a 14-ton weight limit, the inspection resulted in an 11-ton reduction. Whereas the weight reduction prohibits any safety equipment like emergency medical services or Boyle County Fire Department from crossing the bridge or a full-size snow plow or school bus. And whereas Boyle County citizens on Medlock Road are essentially cut off from emergency services, which is a danger to the health and well-being of residents on this road. Whereas Kentucky Emergency Road Aid Fund has $80,000 available for this project, the difference not to exceed $170,000 must be paid for by Boyle County Fiscal Court. The court may authorize funding to come from LGEA funds, road aid funds, or the general fund. So that is the resolution to declare the emergency.
Under the rules of parliamentary procedure, Judge, I call the question.
Okay, I got some more questions though.
Well,
So, Counselor?
we call the question. He's called the question. We have to vote. You can ask questions after that.
That's fine, I guess.
All right, all those in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Emergency has been declared.
Question.
Yes. That's your
This was done on the 27th of September, so a month and a half ago.
Yes.
When did they notify us?
That was the day they notified us.
So, as this is a true emergency, why is it taking a month and a half for us to react on this? And I'm not attacking you in any way, I just want to know, this is an
Because we
emergency.
just found out we could get emergency funding.
Okay,
Yes.
That's why.
thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
No, I mean, that's all I need to know.
Yeah, yeah. So it's.
So we now know we have $80,000 in emergency road aid funding available.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can get up to 100,000 and they allotted us 80.
Pretty good.
Good deal. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Ryan.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Did we pass
That's a good question.
the animal shelter?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I don't really think parliamentary procedures actually work here, to be honest with you. That's just me.
Sissy, yes, thank you, Magistrate Boner. She called this morning, texted this morning, and she has the flu, so she could not be with us today. So she'll be on the next agenda in 2 weeks, 28th.
Since it's on Facebook that there's a situation at the Humane Society, it might be worth just mentioning that.
What?
That they're closed? Is that what you're talking
Yes,
about?
yeah.
Okay. The Humane Society is closed this week. They are doing deep cleaning, do some animal. Carrie, you want to speak
Sure.
to that? Okay, so Carrie's with us. I'll let her explain
I
it.
appreciate that. Kennel cough is very common. It spreads quickly, but it is treatable. Let me clarify one thing. We are closed, we're not closed, we're open, and we do have some cats.
Okay,
We just can't
okay,
bring the
okay.
dogs out.
Okay, so no dog adoptions or
Correct.
anything with dogs this week, but you can adopt a cat.
We are certainly hoping it's just a week, for sure.
Okay, all right,
But
thank
yes,
you.
we would love, we've got cats that need to go home, so come on in.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, Treasurer Lanham, first quarter report and the 21-22 fiscal court audit.
Okay. All right. I did something a little different this time because I didn't know if everyone had actually seen in full what the audit, or what the fiscal court quarterly reports look like. So I actually printed off the whole thing so that you could actually see.
Thank you. I like that.
Instead of doing just the
Summary.
condensed version, yes. So this is actually what all goes into it. There's a list of all the revenues, all the expenditures, bank reconciliations. We've spent about sorry, I can't see you all. We've spent about where I expect us to be right now. I knew we would be a little heavy on the first quarter, but that was because we've acquired some property. We have, we've spent money to build a building for our fleet management. You know, so we've done a few extra things. We still had some ARPA money that we were spending out. So we've done a few extras that I knew would, you know, be a little higher on the expenditure side. That was not anything unusual for that. If anybody has any questions on the report itself, I mean, when you look at the report, basically, for anyone who hasn't seen it before, it gives you a place to put in your budget amendments as they come through, your transfers as they come through. So I can actually subtract things off of certain line items, add them to other line items. And I'm actually already started on the second quarter reports with that information. So I'm trying to get ahead.
Well, thank you. This is very detailed and very informative. I like this.
I did too. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
And if anyone needs a bigger version, I can get you that too. But as far as the FY22 audit, that's all completely summed up now. We received our full draft copy, and I sent that to each of you a month or so ago.
Before you talk about that, fiscal court just says that they received this, you don't have to vote on it.
Correct.
First quarter report.
So we can
It's
acknowledge.
just been acknowledged, yes, thank you.
Okay.
The audit, the condensed version basically is sent from the auditor's office to the newspaper. So that has gone directly to them, and they had basically just 3 major findings. We had comments in the expanded version, which were just more or less, hey, don't forget this, or hey, we noticed this. But we do have the 3, and there are responses in there, and I think it went in this week. Am I right, Shirley?
I think so.
I think it went in this week.
Did anybody see it in the newspaper yet? I haven't looked at the newspaper, so I can't 100% say for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think it's in today, I looked this morning.
Oh, okay. Okay. So those are there if anybody has questions about them. Keeping in mind this is a combined audit. There were three treasurers involved, one finance officer who was out on maternity leave for 12 weeks. There was a lot of different things that took place during that year, and I came in November, so from November on that does concern me. There were a lot of things that were happening and a lot of things that people didn't know, and everybody was working together to try and figure it out.
So can you address the systems that have been put in place to address the concerns brought forward by the audit?
Yeah. Essentially, let's see. What do I do back on? With the first point, it was talking about the fourth quarter being materially misstated and disbursements being exceeding appropriations. Part of that goes back to occupational tax. The way, I don't know exactly when it was set up. It was set up way before me, years and years ago. And when it was set up, it was done so with money coming into Danville, or money coming into Boyle County on behalf of Boyle County and on behalf of the city of Danville. When those payments were being made out, they were sent to the finance officer who was taking them out of revenue line items. They were being put into revenue line items, being taken out of revenue line items. There were not expenditure line items. When I came in, I had never really seen it that way, but I followed suit. When the state auditors came in, they said, no, we need it to appear this way. It needs to be expenditure line items. They need to be taken out of here. You need to budget. This needs to be on your budget report. It hasn't been before that I've ever noted, so I've since done the budget amendments. We passed those a couple meetings ago. So budget amendments are in there now. There are expenditure line items now. All those things are coming out correctly, the way they should be. They notified me in time for me to get them on my fourth quarter report for last year, so they will be included in that. And they are on my first quarter report this year. So that was one of the biggest issues. There was one line item I did miss, and I probably skipped over it when I was going down the line, because essentially all of these things I enter freehand. I mean, that's an Excel spreadsheet. Our software will produce this report. It's been a matter of getting everything straightened out in the software to where it will produce it. I did one test run. It didn't quite have everything involved this time, so I'm going to do another test run again at the December 31 and see if it actually pulls everything that needs to be pulled. Let's see, where else? Okay, so as
So
far,
help me understand something.
okay,
A lot of this report talks about fourth quarter. Are you saying that everything that happened in the first, second, and third quarter messed up the fourth quarter? Or did they look to see any issues or problems with the first, second, or third quarter?
a lot of times your first, second, and third quarter will build up to your fourth.
Yeah.
So they look at the first 3 quarters as things can go in, but then they can be moved around or changed, or perhaps something just gets corrected, you know, before the fourth quarter. The first quarter was done late because the former treasurer wasn't here. The second quarter was done, I think, right before I got here. Third quarter, I kind of walked into and stumbled over. Oh no, actually the second quarter maybe.
So you were here in November.
We were stumbling, yeah.
Getting your feet
second
wet
quarter,
still.
Yeah. so
December.
December, and then I came.
Second quarter.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
During the second quarter. I came in early November. I just had my 2-year anniversary. Everybody, yay. Yay me, I made it 2 years. Okay.
Gotta get easier.
I wasn't sure. I
Gotta
would.
get easier.
But, yeah, so second quarter, I stumbled probably through that. Third quarter, we were still working out some kinks. We found, and one of the things that actually is listed in here, and it says 48,601, that's actually incorrect, it's 48,602. I'll remember that number till the day I die. As it turned out, we tried to fix it, we debited it, and then we credited it, and we debited it, and we credited it, and then we found out after many moves that it was a glitch in KPS that only they could fix on their end. So,
That was a nightmare.
It was a bit of a nightmare. But we had a few things like that. That they were what they were. I can't go back, can't take them back. Working around an old system, trying to update things. You know, we kind of all did the best that we could.
Part of it is just simply a learning curve, because when you come from one position, because you were finance officer in Lincoln, and you come in as treasurer, of course, that's 2 completely different positions. And there's a lot of things that you would know as a treasurer that you would not know as a finance officer. And so I think some of this can be attributed to just learning curve, coming in, learning what a treasurer does. And, you know.
If I could just to focus us back on, have we corrected the issues brought up by
Okay,
the
so as
audit?
far as the occupational
Because that's
tax.
the biggest thing,
Yeah.
is making sure, you know, an audit is an important process,
Yes.
an important purpose.
Yes.
And one of the things, it obviously catches these things, rightfully so, but then it's important that we make the corrections that were brought up in the audit so it never happens again.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And so that's what I want to make
Okay.
sure we're all comfortable with,
So
that the
let
new
me
systems
address
are
a
in
couple,
place to
and then Darlene
correct these issues.
can jump in there. The occupational net profit tax are now being posted as they're supposed to be when they are actually received and not when they are transferred in. So that has been taken care of. Let's see, the next comment.
Internal controls over cash transfer.
Internal control, okay, that is now being monitored by Elena as part of her job duties as finance officer. She is now checking, that's not what she's checking? I'm sorry, I misspoke.
That's actually what I write out for you all that goes through the packet now.
No,
Before
I was gonna say, I was gonna bring that up because we just had that example of that today. in our
before I
packet.
came.
Okay, I'm sorry, I thought Elena was
Yeah,
doing
no,
the
that's-
check on that too, okay.
Before well, she prints off a report, and I take that report, compare it to the bank
Okay.
statements.
So she
and-
is involved.
So, yeah, she prints off a report of after all of her bills are done, out of everything that is gonna be spent out of each fund. I check that against the bank accounts, and compare it to what is gonna be coming through as far as payroll goes, and when our next meetings are, and when I expect larger sums to be coming in, and then I do the cash transfer. Before I came, there was no written cash transfer or budget transfer list, and that was one of the things that I felt needed to be done because I wanted things to be as clear as possible. And so that is something that I did. One of the things that they found is, and I still sticking to my guns, I believe it's there, and I just couldn't find the paperwork when they were here because things were a little chaotic at that point in time. But it was a partial, the $48,035 was a partial to cover money that was going into an account. But when I did the cash transfer, I did it for a full $1,000 and I moved the balance over. But I couldn't put my hands on it in time while they were here. So I believe I covered it. They're saying I didn't, that's okay. I have to just take that lump and go with that. But that's why I do the cash transfer on paper the way I do. And then once they're done, once they're entered in, I have a code that's given to me by the bank. I have that written down. And then I do the switch into the account. And I've got all that filed in a file separate. So if anybody ever wanted to see all the cash transfers, all I gotta do is pull out a file and hand it to you. You can show me.
Capital asset listing.
The capital asset listing. I went to the judge when she first came in and we talked about this because this had not been updated since fiscal year 20. And because we were at a time when we were getting ready to start doing a thorough inventory to get ready for Springbrook, to put all of our fixed assets in. So when this came up and I knew that they were gonna need this, I went to her and I said, listen, I can come up with something, but I would rather do it the right way, and I'd rather it be correct. But it's gonna be a finding on us. And so with her approval, I said I'd rather take the finding and actually do this and do it correctly so that it's ready for the next report, rather than have it be halfway. So we now have
A complete asset inventory.
Absolutely complete. Elena went out and actually put hands on everything and wrote everything down completely. She went out to all the different areas and took a full, complete, thorough inventory of everything that we have.
And she's tracking everything.
So,
That's great.
and that was one of the jobs that I did before as finance officer, is because when we were paying for things, I'm the one that's seeing that we're paying for things. So in that position, I felt like because she's the one paying for things, she should be able to keep track of that information. So that was one of the things that I really wanted her to be able to do. And she's gone out and done it, got it all entered in the system. We are fully in the fixed assets part of Springbrook, and I am working on finalizing the actual capital asset list. We don't have a definite date yet for our fiscal year 23 audit yet, but we are on the list to be seen hopefully soon. So.
As far as our next audit, okay, good.
I think you are to be recommended for coming into a situation and not throwing up your hands and leaving, because I've done bookkeeping, so I know, and looking at your answers, it made me feel good, what you said you had done and what, so I appreciate that, what you've done and what we're doing to straighten out what needed straightening out, and everything you've got looks very good. I think we'll have a really good audit.
We're getting there. This one may not be perfect, but
Yeah,
the next
it's
one
getting closer. Yeah.
will be closer each time.
Okay, any other discussion on the audit report?
Nope.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we will go into executive session. This is pursuant to KRS 61.810, paragraph 1, paragraph B, deliberations on the future acquisition or sale of real property by a public agency, but only when publicity would likely affect the value of a specific piece of property to be acquired for public use or sold by a public agency.
Can we also go in for personnel as well?
I do not have the KRS for that. If you need the KRS, I can read it. Personnel.
I mean, I think it's kind of the same KRS, it's just.
It's the same KRS.
It's just the
Different.
different section. To
I
discuss
need-
potential termination, expulsion.
Right.
Discipline of an employee.
Yep, that's the one.
So you ready?
Okay.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks,
Do
Rick.
you have the,
I mean,
the first
What's
part, I need you to.
what's the
say.
KRS that you just said? KRS
KRS 61.8101B.
61. Alright.
61.810.
Yeah, I need you to be in here for the property.
Hold on
Oh.
one second. 6181.
Yeah, you got it down.
And Steve, I'm gonna ask you to step out for this one, but stay in the hall and come,
I will.
yeah, please.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, that would be F.
We off camera?
61.8101F. Discussions or hearings which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual employee, member, or student without restricting that employee's new member's student's right to a public hearing if requested. The exception shall not be interpreted to permit discussion of general personal matters in secret.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ugh.
Now,
Need a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Second, motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are in.
Say a time I have to wait.
I don't know. It's on,
Money.
I'll just go ahead and leave that. I don't
Which
think you
one?
don't think
That's
that's.
just putting our money
You
that
want
we
any
have.
comments?
Yeah, Chris, you've got to check out any encumbrances on there.
All right, we're out.
Do I have to tell them
Yeah.
we're out
Yes.
if they want to come back in?
Into the jail
Everybody
project,
check in.
and then we won't have any money, we can bond the rest.
I mean, I don't expect it more than 25 million on the jail.
I'm with you on that too.
Money.
100%
We
jail.
don't have to bond anything.
100%.
We don't have to bond
Yep.
anything.
Correct.
Pay for it, out of reserves.
Tina coming?
Let's spend it all before we get there.
Half the property is not, I mean, we're in a situation right now.
As long as we put this
He's sitting down.
What?
that property.
Okay, I entertain a motion to return to regular session.
So move.
Second.
Have a motion by Magistrate Ellis, a second by Magistrate Sleeper to return to regular session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. And that was with having no action taken. Okay?
All right, I'll make a motion that we allow Judge Bottom to negotiate purchase of a property up to $75,000. And that's my motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Have a motion by Magistrate Cullen, a second by Magistrate Sleeper to allow myself to negotiate property up to $75,000, negotiate purchase of property up to $75,000. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Nay.
One nay. Motion carries. Okay. Next is magistrate reports, and
I gotta
Magistrate Cullen, do you want to do yours first?
I'll do mine real quick. We met, EMS committee met this morning, myself, Paula, Mo, Tim, and Michael and Terry. Runs in October, we're 576, so down just a little bit, but still, those are high numbers. Mo gave a great training update. The vending machine is now online, so, better security for the medicines that they have out there. Terry gave a good update. Terry does fantastic work, and we're lucky to have him along with our whole EMS staff. Preparing for the football game on Friday, expecting lots of people to be there. And then there was one of a couple fleet management things that was just talked about. So that's it. I submit my report.
All right, thank you. It's your motion.
Yep.
Second.
Second.
Thank you.
Motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Gay. All those in favor of approving or accepting Magistrate Cullen's EMS report, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, he's leaving. Magistrate Gay, we'll just keep on going around the table.
All right, I basically have a request. I wanted to request some funding in support of the Martin Luther King Day event that is coming up. And it's kind of been against my own beliefs, because I do feel like this should be part of the budget process, but it's an important event, and I'm going to make sure we do get it included in the budget process moving forward. But I think it's such a great community event that it would be good for the fiscal court to be a sponsor of this in the amount of $1,800 that will help cover the food cost for that day, and be listed as a sponsor of that event.
What's the date?
January, I don't know what the exact date is.
Yeah, 15th.
Yeah, somewhere in the
15th,
middle.
January 15th.
15th, yeah, January 15th. And this year, the event is going to be at Danville High School
Oh,
in Gravely Auditorium. And so there will be a march from City Hall to Danville High School with the event in Gravely. And so we're looking forward to it. The event is basically organized and ready to go. And that was an area that I'm hoping that the county can, fiscal court will feel free to help sponsor that event through the community
community involvement. We have a community involvement line item that we specifically put in the budget for things like this, so. Would you like to make a motion?
I make that a motion.
Okay. Have a motion by Magistrate Gay, second by Magistrate Harmon. Any discussion on funding $1,800 for the meals on Martin Luther King Day?
We did this last year, didn't we?
We didn't provide any funding, but.
I remember participating.
But we participated.
Yeah, there, and it was a great event.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we marched from City Hall to Jenny
Right,
Rogers. Yeah.
Gene Rogers last year, but we're moving it to Naval High School this year. Just, it'll be a much better situation with the auditorium and the seating and sitting on the bleachers, etc.
Yeah, be a little more comfortable. All right, any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Is that all you have?
That's all I got.
All right, thank you. Magistrate Sleeper?
Just one of those and pass them around, please. I have a report and then I have a proposal to make. Report our animal control, our community animal care and control event that we approved back in July. It will be at Jackson Park either April 20th or April 27th of 2024. We have both those dates reserved in the park through Parks and Rec. We will have a better idea which one of those dates you want to use by November 27th. We will be extending invitations to animal welfare program providers, sponsors, vendors, agencies, etc., and recruiting volunteers to assist with the preparation, production, operation of the event. So stay tuned for additional information. This will be a great opportunity to raise the visibility of Jackson Park, which I think is one of the best kept secrets in Danville, and get it more utilized publicly, and also serve as a great venue. The director, Tommy, had some really good ideas about where to place parts of it and such. So after the first of the year, we'll get really going on that. So to make you aware of that. I also have a proposal to make. I'm wholeheartedly thankful and appreciative that we have a proclamation regarding National Homeless and Hunger Awareness. It helps to raise awareness of the homelessness situation confronting our Boyle County community. And it's difficult to acquire accurate homeless statistics. However, we know that there are at least 6 known homeless encampments in Boyle County. There's probably more. Those are just the ones we're aware of. In the Kentucky Department of Education statistics, there are 66 known homeless school-age students in our county. The breakdown as of now is 31 in Boyle County school system and 35 in the Danville Independent School System.
Active in school.
That's the statistic doesn't say that, but they're aware of those, so I presume they are active in school. So, and that's 2022 and 23 school year. There are various perceived causes for homelessness, including mental health issues, drug addiction, veterans suffering from visible and invisible wounds, catastrophic financial circumstances, and there's some who simply have a preference for that lifestyle, that particular living situation. With these very contributing factors, there needs to be an intentional and coordinated action to follow the proclamation we made today. Therefore, I propose that the Boyle County Fiscal Court form a homelessness task force. This task force could be a great import to the benefit of all Boyle Countyans. The task force would seek to determine and address the root causes and find meaningful solutions to these root causes of homelessness in our county. While much of the conversation revolving around homelessness focuses on the matter of a homeless shelter, it is not the ultimate solution, in my opinion. Emergency and transitional housing may be a component to an overall meaningful and comprehensive treatment strategy for the homelessness situation. However, we need to bring together minds and resources from our community to address the root causes of homelessness in our community. Individuals in our community have proposed a number of worthwhile ideas, and it's time for an intentional coming together of citizens from various disciplines and areas of expertise to concentrate on this matter. I therefore ask my fellow fiscal court members to approve the formation of a task force on homelessness to address the homelessness causes and seek to find effective solutions in our county. And if approved by this court, I would ask that you, or if anyone you know would be interested in serving on this task force, please let me know, or let Judge Bottom or another magistrates know. I also have a motion prepared if I'm able to make that at this time.
Sure.
So, okay, the motion is I make a motion that Boyle County Homeless that a Boyle County Homelessness Task Force is be formed by the Boyle County Fiscal Court with the task of determining the root causes of homelessness in our community and making recommendations of effective solutions to the court. The membership of this task force will be comprised of community volunteers recommended to and by the members of the fiscal court.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Magistrate Sleeper. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussion on forming a homelessness task force?
I know there's been a discussion about that. We were at a church on 4th Street, right across from Salvation Army, and they had a big task force. They had a lot of people that, do you know what's come from that?
I do not know what's
Can
come
we
from that.
investigate that also to see what's already gone? I have the paperwork if I can find it at home. They had a study and a lot of good information.
I'd like to see that. This partially came about as I was interviewed by a Center College team doing research on homelessness for a research project. And I personally didn't know a whole lot about it. It's something I've been aware of as a need to be addressed, and I think we as a county can, spearhead this and see that something actually gets done, because we don't want to just keep kicking a homeless situation can down the road. So
We have a problem, we need to address it.
This was, I think, several
Very much
churches
so.
involved too, so.
Judge, Gary Chester,
Yes.
I'm on the Board of Hope Network.
Oh, okay.
We were part of that, so
Okay.
that's who.
That's who it was. I knew
followed.
I
He
heard
has
the
a lot of
name.
information,
Okay.
so.
Sure. And we have people in mind that we think would do well, serve well on our task force, but if you have other names, we can contact them and see if they're
Yes,
on board.
just let us know.
I mean, I have a list I've compiled of some people in the community.
Would you like me to present that task force committee at the next meeting?
I think that'd be a good idea.
Okay.
That'll be a couple weeks to where we can
Yeah.
contact them and make sure they're willing.
Willing to do that. Did you receive an email about that Center College, because I was interviewed, I think you and I both were interviewed, that they have set a date to release those? Do you remember getting an email?
I don't recall receiving the email, but I had a phone conversation with a student just a few days ago, and she was going to make me aware of that meeting.
Okay.
Let me know about it.
Okay.
So,
I'm vaguely remembering something that
because
was
they were still up in the
going
air.
to be
as
at the
far-
library.
Yeah, they were still up in the air as to the exact time and maybe even the exact date. I wasn't
Okay.
sure when I talked to her. So.
Because I want to get that out to you all too, so if anybody wants to go, they can go and hear the results of all those interviews. Okay. We vote?
No, we have not.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor to form a homelessness task force and be reported at the next fiscal court meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Is that all you?
That's all.
Okay, thank you. Magistrate Ellis.
Oh, I thought you were gonna get me
You gonna do last? Okay.
No, I'm ready.
All right, okay.
Oh, okay.
I'll be quick on a couple of things before we get to what's on the screen there. The Public Works Committee met yesterday, our regular scheduled meeting, November 13th, at 1:38, or excuse me, that's when I typed this up, at 8:30 in the morning, and we adjourned at 9:20. Issues covered included building construction and utility movements for our Boyle County mechanic. Tree removals, we've had about 20 since I last brought that up, and we have plenty of ash trees and a few others still to go. There's a rough road on Tennessee Ridge, and I think it's your section of Tennessee Ridge, that's under evaluation for being addressed right away. Persimmon Knob also, I believe yours, at Bonita Lane. A tree needs to be either trimmed or removed.
Bonta, I'm sorry.
Oh, what did I do?
You said Bonita.
I think I was auto-corrected. I cannot believe that. I just couldn't catch that.
Okay.
I'll scratch that out on the signed copy. Winter preparations and maintenance work is already underway because we are predicting and hope we don't have it, that we could have a pretty severe winter. So blades and all the equipment that pushes those blades is ready. I was very pleased because I asked in the context that about 3 years ago we were down to virtually no treated salt, and this time our inventory is reported to be 90% treated, which is critical when it gets down in the low 20s. So we're in pretty good shape for that. We unfortunately had a 20-year-old zero turn out of use. It actually caught on fire, and I just think it's not going to be worth the cost of repair. So we'll be looking next year in the budget for replacement of that piece of equipment. Fortunately, we're past mowing now. The Public Works crew is up to an optimum number of staff. We've already had a significant conversation on the Medlock Bridge this morning, and this afternoon we're going with Angie and the judge and I and Roger to evaluate a potential new entrance to the Perryville Convenience Center. And Katina here, and you might want to try to get Roger up that line for him there too.
That's your motion to approve?
I make a
report?
motion for approval of my Public Works Committee report.
Okay, second by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
A couple other quick things. I've been very frustrated because over 6 weeks ago I contacted DOT about the danger of the manner in which they replaced the reflectors on Perryville Road by just putting blotches of asphalt, and it's virtually obliterated single and double yellow lines. I beefed up another email yesterday. I got a response this morning that they hope to get it striped this week. This might be the last window where paint drying at below 40 degrees is not going to hold up. But if it's down to 15 degrees, I want those lines in place by DOT, because there have been cars, trucks, and even semis illegally passing, but how in the world can you blame them when they can't see the lines and the roads coming in and the subdivisions coming in and out of Perryville Road between here and Perryville. So hopefully they will get that done this week, but if they don't, I'll be all over it and continuing. The third thing I would report is that I'll be meeting with JC and then separately with Shelley Hampton and probably Jim Henderson while we're at the KCO and KMCA meetings this week. And the three critical issues that I've been monitoring and actually participating in going, and the judge came to the last one on annexation. The three issues are annexation, jail, and solar. I need to talk to Roger and the judge about some speed limit signage and how we go about doing that on our roads where we're having some problems. We were actually asked for speed bumps, but I'm very much opposed to speed bumps on our county roads. All right, lastly, we were very fortunate with the relationship that we have with Josh Short, a reporter for Channel 56 Fox out of Lexington. He's been here at least 3 times for our football team. He came and helped us persuade the state that what I estimated at 50 tons ended up over 200 tons of hanging cliff boulders, not rocks, were taken out, and he covered that tremendously a year or so ago. And we contacted him about the extraordinary success of our jailer, all the staff members, and particularly James Hunn and our counselors in the program for re-entry into society. And he came yesterday, and with that, here's what was on the news last night.
Boyle County Detention Center are learning a lot about becoming productive citizens, and it's all thanks to a successful substance abuse program, also called SAP. Josh Short heard from some inmates who tell us what makes the program so special.
These inmates have high hopes, knowing they're learning to re-enter society as productive citizens. The inmate program making that possible got a perfect score from the Department of Corrections audit for the 2nd year in a row.
I learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about why I keep making the same mistakes over and over again, learned a lot of stuff like that in the program.
There's a lot of different things that I was unaware of growing up that wasn't implemented in my life that now I'm more aware of, and I feel more relaxed, reintegrating into the community based off everything that I have learned here.
From the substance abuse program to moral recognition therapy, the mission of the detention center is to remove barriers that would prevent these inmates from living their lives as citizens.
And we want them to walk out the doors being a productive citizen and being able to contribute. And, you know, a lot of these guys that when they leave here, they get involved in treatment with other programs and they want to carry that on. So I think that says a great deal for them and what our program offers.
They're given the chance to do that through learning opportunities and spiritual guidance.
Yeah, it is very exciting for me. It's kind of gives purpose to, you know, what we're doing. Kind of like fuels the fire in a sense to keep going and, you know, try to make more of an impact.
Those involved say the perfect score is nice, but there's a far better reward involved.
We're not doing it for the 100% scores, which I think is good, but we're doing it because we actually care about the inmates and we want to give them the tools to be able to be successful.
And with those tools, the inmates who went through the program are making new plans.
Getting out and staying sober. I'm ready for that. I'm ready to make some changes.
Using it as a learning experience and applying it.
In Danville, Josh Short, Fox 56 News.
I spoke with the two gentlemen who were interviewed, and by the way, Josh was so wonderful. He encouraged the guys to get around the table and essentially act as if they were in one of their sessions learning with James Hunn. But in speaking to him, Steve, I told them in my hiring days years ago, they need to get, and we've already agreed that we will try to get them clips of this film when they finally have served their term and they're out, because I would look at this as a hiring executive for my corporations as something very positive if they showed this among the items in their resume. So with that in mind, I'm just thrilled with the way it went yesterday, and the judge came over and observed with me, so thank you, sir.
Like I said, I want to give credit to Barry, because he's the one that started the SAP program when he was there, and we wouldn't be where we're at today if he hadn't had the forethought and foresight to do.
Thank you, Mr. Harmon.
Handing the ball off to a good man. Actually, his wife.
Thank you, Judge, that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Measure Ellis. Measure Bowden?
Yes, I wanted to mention that Parksville Baptist Church has food distributions once a month. And so if families are interested, we had a blessing box and we heard some stories about people hoarding, you know, lots of food being hoarded, and it just wasn't working. And so we thought this would be families that need to talk to us, just come to Parksville Baptist Church, I go there. So you can contact me if you need, a family needs, they give out a box of food every month, and they're working on making it, you know, even better.
So you accept donations?
Yes.
So that's another place
Yes.
that the community can donate to this Parksville Baptist
Yes,
Church? Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
And then the siren in Junction City has been taken down, and they are working on it, and supposedly it'll hopefully get back in a week. It has been, they've had a problem with it for quite some time, so now we're getting it worked on and hopefully be back in working order, Brian Coyle said. I haven't seen any blacktopping in my district. I'm not sure.
There's not any blacktopping in anybody's district,
Is
right?
it
We're
that
still waiting on.
I mean, are we gonna get any blacktopping?
We hope so, and they keep telling us
November.
that we're on the list.
It's about to shut down.
We're very frustrated.
Do we have an option next year of looking at other, do we have to go with the same people that do it, or what do we do there?
The judge and I talked about that,
Yeah.
and
There's got to
I
be an
think we
option.
need to, and Roger was in the conversation, and I think we need to know, or we need to let Allen Company know that we don't always have to take the low bid, that the frustrations that we have from our constituents can make it to where if we had to pay a few percentage points more to expedite, because we know roads are being paved and driveways are being paved and parking lots are being paved, but our constituents need their roads paved.
90% of my calls are about roads.
Yeah.
And we have money to do roads.
Yes.
And we're sitting here in November, expecting
Waiting.
a hard
Waiting.
winter.
Likewise.
And having no roads completed, so it's very frustrating for me
Roger
as well as
was
everybody.
going to have a conversation, and the name escapes me, Tom, who he talked about yesterday in our committee meeting.
I've only met him one time.
Okay, he was going to talk with him,
Yeah.
hopefully today,
Yeah.
and pin him down on when they're going to get started, so.
Well, I want to make a suggestion for everybody to think about.
Okay.
funding the park at Junction City. We've got money sitting there right now, and so I want everybody to consider that, and I'll talk more about that next meeting.
Okay.
But we want to consider getting that done, and to let you know, just real quickly, that I don't sit at home and twiddle my thumbs. I went to Morehead State University to hear about this $600 billion that are going to be given to coal counties, and we've just been included, and at the end of the session, we'll be included in that money. And I've got 7 answers from 7 people, but I'll tell you who I've talked to. Amanda Bledsoe, I talked to her on the phone, and I met her on Friday.
Yeah.
And we had a good conversation. I called Daniel Elliott, and we've had a good conversation. I've called Jim Henderson. I've called J.C. Young. I have, I can't find my list. Amanda Bledsoe said she's going to send Jennifer Kirchner. So if you're out there, Jennifer Kirchner, give me a call.
She'll probably be at Keiko.
Will she? Okay, good. I'll find her. And I could go on with the list to try to help with this bike park, which I really feel strongly will be an economic boom for our county. And I feel like it'll be, of course, a wonderful health thing for our children and our adults, both. A walking bike park. It's not just, it's going to be a multiple use park, and it'd be a great opportunity to reuse unusable land. So I'm doing lots of things with that, and
That money you're talking, that's House Bill 9?
House Bill 9. Yeah, and we're going to have a session on that at this meeting, conference. So, and I'm going to talk with Mr. Petrie, who's the one that says there's 4 steps, 4 little steps. Just go through that. 1, get a project. Well, I've got that.
Yep.
2, go to your bluegrass ad. Well, my bluegrass ad told me we don't think that's going to work. That's not a big enough project. Well, then I talked to all these other 7 people, and they're like, no, this would be, you just have to make it a bigger, greater project, and this would be great. This would be absolutely wonderful. Everybody says that. So, needless to say, I'm done. That's all I've got.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Magistrate Harmon, last but not least.
Chicken's on the way.
Chicken's on the way.
It's not gonna be long. We got shrubs and blacktop.
Yeah, won't be long now then.
They're hiring. Hiring lots of high school kids out here, so that's great.
Yeah. It'll be good. Good business.
Yeah.
Be one of the few that's closed on Sundays.
Yeah.
That's right.
Is that all you have?
That's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so Chris has already left, Attorney Herron. Julie, you have anything?
I got 3 things.
All right.
The 250th celebration of the founding of America. On December 14th, we're bringing into Boyle County the lead person to kind of give a brief presentation, and then we're going to form a steering little committee in the community to work on projects and planning, and that for the 250th. The Constitution Square roofs should begin any day. The materials are supposed to be delivered today.
That is fantastic.
So that's exciting. And Rusty secured just over $71,000 in FEMA money for the windstorm and the flooding and all that good stuff. So,
great.
And it's 71,000
good
plus.
Okay, awesome.
That's it.
Thank you for your report. Okay, I'll finish this out. I received an email from Circuit Clerk Courtney Shoemaker, and she said that there are discussions, or wondering if there was any discussions to close the courthouse for Inauguration Day, which is December the 12th. The fiscal court voted to close it in 2019, and she's trying to make a decision about the court offices. So, what's your all's pleasure?
I think we ought to close it.
Okay. Do you recall any that, Julie?
It's fiscal court day.
The 12th is fiscal court day? Okay. I don't know what it is, the problem, yeah.
Had we only closed it in 2019?
I don't know.
I don't recall.
I don't remember either. I think it's normally a big, a lot of state
I know,
offices and
yeah.
people there. Kind
Well, we can reschedule.
Yeah, we could do fiscal
Sure.
court another day.
We
if
can
you'd
do it.
like.
I'm trying to get to my calendar. I'm having
We're having it on the
problems.
21st.
Yes.
So we could do it.
How about-
Okay,
how about if
so
we move it
December.
to the
we could do it on, do I have anything on the 14th? Why did I think there's something on the 14th?
We could do it on the 8th or the 11th.
I know.
I hate to do it on the 14th and then the next week have another one.
I know.
Would it work to do it on the 11th?
11th, that would, 11th,
Does that work for everybody? Monday?
Monday the 11th?
That will
Would
mean
that work with you all?
it'll be a special, it'll be a change, so we won't be able to deviate from the agenda.
Right, so we'll have a set agenda and that's all we'll be able to discuss, is that.
Because we'll have a meeting before that, right?
Yes.
I want to make sure.
28th of November.
Okay.
Right, 28th of November. Okay, so, do I have a motion then to move fiscal court meeting to December the 11th, Monday, December 11th at 9 a.m.?
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion by Magistrate Gaze or a second?
I'll second.
Second by Magistrate Sleeper. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, so we
Need a
have,
motion to close the courthouse, or is that just something you can do by action by the judge?
that's, yeah, we can just do that under. Okay. Also, several of us met with Amanda Bledsoe for the Coffee with Amanda at RACC last Friday morning. Then several of us also attended the Veterans Luncheon that was held out at the Armory. It was a great event, well attended. I've said, and I've said it on Facebook, if you did not leave there with a heart of gratitude, something was bad wrong. Because just to look out over the room at all those veterans and the service that they provided, the sacrifice that they provided to all of us. And we have one sitting here in our midst, Jailer Wofford, thank you for your service. It was just heartwarming, you know,
And those of
to
us
be
who
there.
had fathers in World War II, what did we have, 3 World War II?
I think there was 3 World War II.
And folks, the report is now that there are fewer than 75,000 in the entire nation. So embrace them.
Yes, very much. We also had a little paranormal activity go on in the courthouse over the weekend. 859 Paranormal Group came and did a ghost hunt. They left with no ghost. But they were from the top of the courthouse to the dungeon of the courthouse, and I think they had a good time. There was county staff with them, assisting them, or just being present with them. So I think they started about 6 o'clock on Saturday night and finished up about 10. And I got the report that there was no ghost to be found. So you're safe in the courthouse. Now that is to be debated, because there are other stories that counteract that, contradict that. Okay. Anything else? Anybody have anything else? That's all I have.
Make a motion to adjourn.
All right, we have a motion to a second.
Second.
Motion by Magistrate Ellis, second by Magistrate Gay. All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion
Send
carried.
those down.
We're adjourned.
Right.
Send those down, the name tags, we'll save.